everybody. How are you today? I have got one of my favorite Appalachians, if I get my hand motions right. One of my favorite Appalachians, Pip Shepherd's here, and he is here to talk about the Greeters Project.
Ray, hey guys, it's great to see some greeters on the chat too, which is good. You can answer some questions along the way.
And we should have a lot of greeters also in that chat. And I want to, before we go any further, Eowyn could not make this bingo, but she will be here tonight. And we'll talk about the bingo that's going to happen. I say tonight where I am. We'll talk about the second bingo today at the end of this one. But I think everybody on WikiTree knows Pip as Mr. Greeter. And if we don't, then we know you're greeting or reading, one of the two.
That's right. Yeah, I'm one who's always begging for greeters. So I guess that makes me Mr. Greeter because I'm just always begging for them. So anyway.
Well, I thought that we would, let me put up the bingo card first. Sorry, guys. This is your first bingo card. And if you have not been to bingo before, or if you have, what you want to do is bring up the bingo card. We have 2 bingo games every session, and this will be the first one. So bring up your bingo card while we chat a little bit, give you guys time to kind of bring it up, work your laptop, your tablet, however you're working your bingo card and our live cast. And I thought that when we booked the Greeters Project for this particular bingo, I was thinking, how was I greeted with WikiTree? And I remember I just kind of stumbled upon WikiTree. I was frustrated over it at the other leaf place, and I was got a greeting. I joined, and somebody said, "Hey, thanks for joining." But not only that, if you need any help, here's a good starting point for how to and what we're about. And my greeter, and I've talked about this a lot, my greeter in 2016 was Mags. So what I'm going to ask everybody today, while Pip and I chat, is who was your greeter? And make sure to let us know in chat who your greeter was. And then I thought about greeting in general. So I want to kind of throw this out a little bit before we talk about the Greeters Project. I want everybody to kind of put yourself in different scenarios and situations. So it's Friday night, and you're going out to dinner with the family tonight. And you go to a restaurant, whatever restaurant. It could be fast food, it could be fine dining, or anything in between. When you first go in that restaurant, what happens? You're greeted. And if you're not greeted, what are you doing? You're not doing much. You don't have a clue. Do I sit down? Do I seat myself? Do I get the menu? What's going on? And we've all been in that scenario where maybe a host wasn't there and we didn't know what to do. So think about that in terms of if you're at a restaurant, you don't know what to do. Can you imagine if we did not have a Greeters Project on WikiTree? What would these people do? They would go off not knowing some of the requirements that we have. We love sources on WikiTree. We love collaboration. And I think the biggest thing the greeters do is, besides welcoming, is they let everybody know this is one tree. Everybody doesn't get an individual tree. So the greeters help with duplicates in more ways than you guys can even imagine. And then I was thinking, I was at a dentist appointment last week, and I was thinking, if I just walked into a doctor's office, it wasn't greeting, how would they know who I am? How would they know what my appointment was? How would they know to call me to the back and things like that? So think of all the times in your real life that you were greeted, and then put yourself in a situation where if you weren't greeted in those environments. And then when you bring it into WikiTree, could you imagine when you were greeted, when you first joined, if someone didn't say, "Hi, thanks for being here. We welcome you. We're a little different. We like things this way, and we do things this way, but we're so glad that you joined us." And I think that's the big key with greeters. And I think as all of us look back at when we first joined and who greeted us, I'm so thankful that WikiTree has this project, because I would be lost without you guys. And I think that you're going to hear Pip and I talk a lot, that if you like this scenario, you like being greeted, join the Greeters Project. It is a really fun project. They are a group. They have fun together. They collaborate together. They help each other out so much. And this is a global company. So if no matter what room you're in, we can use you.
Yeah. We are in constant contact with each other throughout the day. If there's an issue that comes up and someone needs help, you just post it to the Google group, and greeters will jump in and say, "This is what I did," and we have some others in leadership and stuff like that. Julie Ricketts, for example, is really a super resource for us, and she's like the next level above David and I, who are the co-leaders. David Selman, who, by the way, was the one who invited me to become a greeter. So thank you, David. So anyway, it really is a great group. It's just a marvelous group. Yeah,
it really is. And I'm so happy that you guys are telling us who greeted you, because this is really interesting. And I agree. This is funny. It's crazy to think of Sandy being new to WikiTree. I am. I'm new to WikiTree almost every bingo because I learn about these projects and I love it. And Kathy's a greeter as well.
Ruth Jones a greeter. Who else did I see?
We've got Aaron. Aaron's a greeter.
People from all over Germany, England,
and a brand new greeter.
Yes. I'm so glad to get Ruth on. The part of the difficulty we have is that we have so many greeters in the United States that some time periods don't get covered real well. And we have Rosalie in Australia who helps cover nighttime. Hey, David.
David's your partner with the Greeters Project, right?
Yes, he's a co-leader with me. I'm so glad to see him on here today. David, really, if you want to know the truth, David knows way more than I do, and I depend on David to. I could not lead the project well by myself, and if it wasn't for David, it would be less of a well-led project. David has been kind of my unofficial mentor over the years here on WikiTree, and I appreciate him so much. I really do.
And it's funny, you see what everybody's doing? Everybody's saying hello. Guess what you guys are doing? You are greeting each other.
Well, I was mentioning before, we have so many greeters from the United States. We do have a few roots in England, Gen Languages in England. We've got Rosalie and Ludwig in Australia. And it helps to have these people who are on different time zones than those of us in the U.S., because those nighttime shifts for me, I can't stay up in the middle of the night, though sometimes I do occasionally hop in if I wake up. But, it helps to have people from around the world to do this, to make sure the shifts are covered.
It really does, because we're global.
Yeah.
We're not just in Europe, we're not just in the U.S., we are global.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I had to work with my microphone a little bit. Okay, I just, for those of you just joined, I put the link to the bingo card running. I'm having some weird feedback. You guys hear that weird feedback, or is it just me?
It's just you.
Okay, I like it when it's just me. Oh, there we go. So Mag's in the fourth health region.
Oh, Liza, you've been on here a long time.
You have.
Eowyn greeted you. That's way back. Yeah.
Ah, see, I thought I had something weird going on. Maybe I got too close.
Here's it too. I don't hear it.
It's a little spooky, like right there. Okay, guys, bear with me.
Iris John, here's it.
I'm gonna try and move a little bit and see what we got going on here. But let me go ahead and bring up the Greeters Project page, and I'll have Pip kind of talk us through it. We're going to talk about the Greeters Project, about what it is, why it's so important. Then we're going to do a bingo card, and then we're going to come back and tell you how you can join and how easy it is to join. Oh, that's true. Pip, do you happen to have a YouTube up in the background?
No, not me.
Not me either. Let me check. I might have it on my laptop. So if you'll do me a favor and just kind of tell us more about the Greeters Project.
Sure. One of the things about we have a lot of enthusiastic people who sometimes want to be greeters, and they haven't been at WikiTree quite long enough. And it helps if they have been here a while. And so we have some things that we look for, some requirements for someone to become a greeter. You got to be on 45 days. You need to have 100 non-GEDCOM contributions. We need people who are really positive too, who are not just positive in their presentation to new members, but are also willing to help guide new members to help pages in specific situations. One of the things that we don't do is if there's a genealogy question, we don't do the genealogy research for these people. We guide them to G2G. So that's not part of our duties. It's not something that we have to do. Helping people, when we say that, is to help them understand how WikiTree works. And so most often we try to be familiar with all the help pages, and if not, we do a search for those things and add those links in. We may explain things in a little more detail, but generally we're not genealogy researchers for the new people. What we are people who have been learned how WikiTree functions. So that's why we look for people who have a pretty much good understanding of WikiTree principles and procedures, where to find the answers. There's some help pages and help search, and we require only 1 hour a week to fulfill your duties to the project. And I think that we just put it this way, because we're short of readers, we have a lot of readers who put in lots of extra hours. And I'm not tooting my own horn here. I do generally at the minimum 14 hours a week. And this past week I did 16 because I needed to cover a couple extra shifts. But you're only required to do one. And so once you go through the training program, you pick an open slot on the calendar somewhere, and then that becomes your slot. And you do that 1 hour. If you want to do more, there will always be open slots for you to help out. So,
I know for us in Appalachia that we talked about mini hand light work.
yes, that's exactly right.
And I'm sorry about the echo, guys. I've checked. I don't have anything going on here. I'm not sure where the echo is coming from. Bear with us.
Hey, Chris. Anyway, so where was I? I can't remember.
But I think I do want to point out that 1 hour a week is all that's required.
Yeah. We do have a training program, which is really good, and we have great trainers who will lead you through the steps about how to do the greeting process. And that usually is about 3 or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 training sessions. It depends on how fast someone picks up on it. And we have excellent trainers that help out. And so you go through the training process, and then we don't cut you absolutely free. We have a greeter, usually the trainer, that will monitor how you do the first couple times, and if everything goes good, there. And we always tell new greeters that if anything comes up that you have a question about, post it in our Google group. We do have a Discord channel, but we don't use it very much. Most of our greeters are almost always monitoring the Google group, and so when I first came on, I had lots of questions to ask, and greeters are more than willing to help until you become really experienced at it. So anyway, there you go. That's that. Still back for John. The feed at YouTube is stopping. The sound is not good. I have no sound. Sandy, I have no sound for you right now.
Okay.
There you are.
There we go. It doesn't sound like feedback anymore. I think we're good. Thank you guys for hanging in there. You know how live casts goes. Sometimes there's quirky little stuff that goes on. So thanks for hanging in there. Why don't we get straight to a bingo card?
Sure.
and have some fun. Now that we're not dealing with some of this technical stuff with the webcast, let's get to a bingo card. And I just posted it up there. And let me bring this down. And we'll recap the Greeters Project when we come back, because we've got some interesting ideas to calm your nerves with greeting. A lot of people get shy about greeting, whether it's in person or online. So they say, Pip, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you well.
Yeah. John says I'm on mute, but I think I'm ready to go.
Hey, Sharon.
Okay, let me go ahead and bring up the bingo card. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, everybody got their bingo card and everybody ready to go. We're going to start. Now, as with bingo, for those of you that have not played, and a reminder for those of you that have played, when we bring a project in, the project gives us the bingo words. And for you greeters, I know that you already know the words, because I think Pip sent out a call for words. And it's a lot of words the projects have to give us. So the way to do bingo is you bring up your card, and to win bingo, you've got to either get it horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. And the first person who has actual bingo but types in the chat that they won bingo, just say bingo, bingo, bingo. That's fabulous if you do that. You're the winner. So if 5 people get bingo at the same time, it's quick draw typing. Whoever types in bingo, bingo, bingo first is the winner. And then we'll talk about what you win and how you can get your prize. I'm sorry, David. I don't know what's going on with the sound, but at least with bingo, you can see the words, so hopefully that'll work. Okay, so everybody ready? Let's go. I think John told us to go ahead and engage. So let's go ahead and engage. So, wait, this is not yours. Did you?
Yeah, that's mine.
This is yours?
Yeah, that's one of our words. The reason that I chose DNA there is that sometimes people will ask a real simple question: how do I transfer my DNA from Ancestry or my heritage or anything like that? And what we need to tell them is what we do is that that WikiTree doesn't accept raw data. That all they need to do is to list their text. And so we have a little message for that if necessary. And sometimes we'll just type it up ourselves. I get this frequently. People asking a question about how to transfer their DNA over, and all they need to do. And then, or I'll get a question like, "Why is my DNA not connecting?" Well, part of the thing with new people is they haven't built into the tree enough to make a connection to the tree, and that's where the DNA kicks in. So that's the thing that we tell them.
This is interesting, because the reason why I question whether this was yours is because the second bingo today is adoption angels, and they're all about the DNA too. So
yeah, right.
So we will learn a lot about DNA. And you're right. So as you look at a profile and you see all the DNA connections, if they haven't built out their tree, they're not going to be connected to their 6G gene.
We often look for, when someone new joins, if they mention in their communication preferences that they're adopted, they don't know which name to use on their profile, we guide them through that process. And we also guide them to a link to the adoption angels so that they can have some assistance there. You'd be surprised how frequently we get this kind of question.
I really would. And I got a little nervous again, because I'm like, did I bring up the adoption angels? I did. So, but you bring up an excellent question. When you first join WikiTree, and if you were adopted, you have usually a birth name and then an adopted name. So greeters have this information handy, and we're going to talk about how you know as a greeter what to do. Trust me, Pip and David have got this all together. But I'm so glad now that you brought this up, because it does tie into the adoption angels, but it also answers that important question: what do I do? What name do I use? And I am surprised how much you guys bring it up. In open slots, I'm going to take a wild guess that your calendar has open slots for greeters.
Yes, it does. and sometimes they're long. One of the difficult things that greeters face is that when they come onto their shift, and there's been a long series of open slots. For example, usually on Monday mornings when I come in at 9 o'clock in the morning here Eastern Standard Time, there will be several hours that have been open, and I will start with the guest feed, and usually anywhere between 30 and 50 people have joined, and I'll need to post messages for them, and then I'll move over to the family member upgrade, and usually there's about anywhere from 15 to 25 of those. So there's a lot of catch up, and because I've been greeting for a long time, I can do it pretty quickly. I can cover all of the needed greets within about 30 to 45 minutes. And since I'm on for 3 hours, that's not a problem. So,
but again, many hands make light work for everybody, and I know how much Pip is online with greeters, and how much David's online with greeters. These two gentlemen are really pulling a lot of extra weight, and then you've got a project coordinator and Pam, and I know Pam's pulling extra weight. So it's a really easy thing to just donate 1 hour of your time each week. And I've asked everybody in chat, and if you haven't seen it yet, if you are a greeter, tell us your favorite reason for being a greeter with WikiTree.
yeah.
Share the love. In aliases, this kind of goes to what we were talking about with adoption too.
We have a lot of people who use like just initials, a first initial and a last initial. And there's a message that we actually post for that. In order for people to get the full benefit of WikiTree, at least your surname and a first initial of your first name will better integrate you into that. We use a Google Calendar on a regular basis to keep track of who's on and who's not on, and who's when Pam is, or in a couple of cases, Jenny has been training, Jenny Fields. So the calendar is in use all the time.
I mean, the calendar, you guys are probably so extremely communicated because you're greeting, you're talking to other people. So you keep your entire project members well informed in help pages.
Yeah. And one of the things that we try to do is make sure that we try to get people to join us who don't have to know all the help pages, but know how to access the help pages and find information for new people. We want people to lean more on learning to do things themselves, and if they learn that there are help pages for those things, that's the thing that
and I think that's important. So, the Greatest Project isn't asking you to know every single WikiTree policy and rule. I think all of us, once you've been around WikiTree a while, you know the general, but you also know where to go for help. And the Greeters Project gives you like a cheat list. This is what you need to do for this item or that item, and go to the help pages. So don't feel that you have to be all knowledgeable, knowing of every WikiTree rule and policy. They help you out with these help pages. In 1 hour, we've talked about this a lot, just 1 hour a week. That is just really easy to do. Do it whenever the kids go to sleep at night, or maybe when you first wake up in the morning, pick up a lunch hour. I know I donate an hour for a similar project, the Rangers project, and I pick when my dogs are napping, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So I pick middle of the day when I'm guaranteed they're napping. So
I do my 1 hour on the Wednesday night. I'll greet from 8 to 10, then I'll do my Ranger hour the following hour after that. So what's really funny is I follow Cheryl, who greets right before me, and then she switches over to the Ranger project. And when I get to the Ranger, she's there, and I'm filling in for her there too.
So you guys do that. And we have a couple good answers too. So Kathy said one of her favorite reasons is being able to welcome a guest and help when they need it.
Mm-hmm.
Projects. I can tell you, as a project leader, I would be lost without greeters.
We often, if they mention something that gives a location or something they're interested in, we try to remember to post a link to that project, to their to the project page for their project you might be interested in. You mentioned Scotland in your communication purposes. Here's a link to the Scotland project that may help you with the research. Things like that. We do that frequently.
And I think that is just, I mean, it's fabulous because you guys are feeding us new project members as well. So think about how much the greeters give to us as project members, just general members with other research that we do. Sample messages.
We have a page for the greeters that has sample messages that we can send for lots of different kinds of situations that pop up with new people. There is a standard greet that we always use, and we don't modify that. We just put our name in it. And oh, Mindy, we miss you too, baby.
1 hour, Mindy, 1 hour.
Mindy really, when I joined the greeters, was a big help to me. GEDCOMs, we get people asking about how to transfer their tree over from another site. And so we talk to them about GEDCOMs. We have several links that we can use for that too in the help pages. So GEDCOMs is a big thing.
See, this is a good example too. You don't have to have done a GEDCOM in WikiTree. You don't have to know about them as much, because the Greeters Project has a help page and information for you to give to people that are new to WikiTree. Because I know some WikiTreeers join and they're not super technical, and they might not do GEDCOMs. And then some are like, I have a GEDCOM, I just don't know how to get it in the WikiTree. Again, the Greeters Project gives you all this information. This was the first word Pip gave me on the list. I love it.
The reason I put this one in was we get messages that sometimes seem pretty desperate. They're really calling out for help, and we're more than glad to do that. You know, some people come in with little or no experience, even with computers, and so you know we're there to help them get through that. And so that's the kind of thing that you hear an awful lot. This is something you don't hear about a lot with the Greeters Project. We check people who upgrade to the honor code, sign the honor code, and one of the things we look for is to check to make sure we look through their contributions and see how well they're doing with that. If we see problems with that, sometimes we'll file an NIR for new members that need help, and the mentor will help that. But sometimes we see things are not very good. This is the one we use for people who ask us for genealogy questions.
Oh, that's smart.
So we don't, like I said, we don't do genealogy research for new members. What we tell them to do is to post it at G2G, because that's where they're going to get a lot of help with that.
Because I can imagine if I just join and I say, well, I don't know where to start on my tree because I didn't have the money to pay for the other sites. I want to join a free site. And I can imagine I'm joining this. Well, I heard we were talking about storytellers on Pip's Weekend Chat on G2G today. So I just joined WikiTree. Hey, I heard a story that my great-grandfather was part of the Hatfield and McCoys. Can you find that for me? Can you tell me that? And as a greeter, you would take it and say,
I would say, what you need to do, I tell them that this is a great question for our G2G forum. I just don't point them there. I tell them that it's a good way to get help with that. I also tell them to put as much detail as they can into their post. And so that helps them get connections to other people who are interested in the same families that they are.
So again, you don't have to help them with their tree and be all knowledgeable of a region and get them started. You get them started by going to G2G, which is a great thing to help too.
Yeah.
Now this one's a huge one.
This one is a huge one. One of the things that greeters are trained to do or get help with frequently from within the group is when we recognize that somebody is coming. Oh, somebody's got bingo.
I'm going to assume we're donating, so keep playing.
So we will get people who just put random letters in for their first name and last name. Obviously, the spammer not there for the real thing. And sometimes we have actual companies who will come in and then start posting on profiles.
Oh, really?
Sometimes profiles of dead people about their. And so we put a block on there. There's a few of us that in the group that can actually do the block, and we forward that out to the leader group, which Julie is monitoring all the time, and to the mediators. And quickly we get a deletion of that profile. That happens a lot. It happens a lot more frequently, and sometimes it happens in spurts. Same person doing the same thing over and over and over again. It happens.
That makes it easy to recognize, I imagine. But again, keep in mind, even if you're not technical, that the Greeters Project helps you out to learn and to recognize things like this. So we have a bingo, and Barb, you are the bingo winner. And let me tell you how to. I'm glad we got to that last comment, and I know that everybody's telling me bingo, bingo, bingo. I appreciate that. Keep doing it, because I can talk with a guest all day long. So especially when we're talking about security and things like that. So Barb, what you want to do is you want to email Eowyn and let her know that you won the bingo for today's bingo, first bingo with the Greeters Project. And what she will do is she will email you back and give you information on where to go shop for your bingo prize. This is a really awesome thing that WikiTree does. It's a WikiTree branded prize, which everybody loves. I believe it's up to $30. There's different things that you can buy, but again, I'm going to point out the most popular bingo mug. And just tell her you want, if you like this mug, just tell her you want the all black bingo mug. I do believe that has so far this year been WikiTree's most requested prize. So that makes me happy too. Let's go ahead then and talk a little bit about the greeters training. So give me a second and I will bring that information up, because I don't know. Do you think that people do not want to greet because they're either scared of putting themselves out there, or they're nervous, they don't know all the rules or technology involved? Do you think that's maybe what's blocking some?
I think that they probably think that the training is a lot more technical than it is. Really, there's just a few core steps in the training process. It's knowing which message to post. It's knowing how to handle the sign in, sign out page, which is very simple.
It is. It's very simple.
Really simple. You type in, you put in your 4 tildes to get your name in there, and also putting in that the last person you greeted, the last person that upgraded to family member, the last person that went to the honor code, and the last person that did a pre-1700 certification. So that's the greeter sign-in page right there. And then we have all the sample message pages. We go through all of that. It's really, the training is not difficult. But the main thing about training we try to emphasize is keep in touch with all the other greeters. Keep in touch with us, and we will help you become more adept at it. Some people pick it up rather quickly because they've been on WikiTree for a while and know all the ins and outs. Some people are not as confident in that, but you don't have to be confident in that.
And there's another 2016er with me, your co-leader, David.
Yeah, David is a wonderful co-leader, and I really depend on him. He truly is. You guys don't see him out there very much, but David is truly a wonderful WikiTreeer, and he knows his stuff, and he helps me out all the time. He sees things that I don't see, and I really appreciate that.
And this is a good point for Mindy.
Yes. Mindy was a big help for me when I was first agreeing.
Okay, so I'm new to greeters. I just joined. Tell me what happens next.
Usually what we try to do is to set up a time where we can actually talk to each other while we're going through the training process together. It helps. It helps if it's by video, and you're sharing. You're looking at the greeters pages at the same time, and we go through all the steps that are involved in that. So it's not just we're sending you emails back and forth. We're actually talking to you and showing you how to do things. And then we gradually let you, in those few training sessions you have to do to work on that stuff. Yes, Ruth, it is. It is very hands-on. It is really not a difficult process. Being on line with a trainer where you can see them and share their time on the same page at the same time, showing what's going on, is the way that we do it. It's very hands-on, is correct. Very visual, very hands-on, and not as difficult as you think.
So how long is a training?
We usually training lasts probably about 3 sessions, and then we do one where you're doing your own greeting with the trainer watching in the background to make sure that things are good. And then we pretty much you get your wings and fly out of the nest and you go for it. But you're never on your own. You're never all by yourself. You can always get help anytime you need it.
I think this is one of the great things too about WikiTree's. When you're in a project, that there is always somebody to help.
Yes, there is. There always is. And so you have a basic training program. We have a great basic training program, but your training can continue with contact with other greeters. You put a message out. There's somebody online, a greeter online, who knows, checks their mail regularly or has it pop up. You'll always get help. That's the thing. And so this is what you see when you get the basic things that we go over. Yeah.
How long does it take to become a greeter, would you say, in general?
Well, it depends on how quickly you can schedule your training sessions. We have one new greeter who could only do training at certain specific times because they're in school and they have a job, and so you have to work around those kinds of schedules. So sometimes it may take a few weeks. But if you're, if you've got the time, and the trainer has the time, you'll get to your training quicker. It's the same basic material, but you don't have to rush to get through it. You can take as much time as you need.
Well, that's a good point too. So if you have the time and technical, then you can go ahead and get through it fairly quickly. Sorry about the echo, guys. And if you need more time, that's okay too.
Yes, it is. If you don't feel comfortable getting through the first part of the training process, you can ask for more time. It's not, you've got to do this and we cut you loose. The training continues on even after you start your own greeting. There's always people, and you will learn on your own, and you will learn from other greeters things that you how to take care of certain situations.
Something interesting I want to ask you about greeters is if I'm in a different language than English.
If what now?
If I'm in a different language than English.
If you're a new member, you mean somebody joining up?
And what would a greeter do?
We have access to people who have language skills that can help with that. I'll tell you what a lot of us do. We use Google Translate, which isn't always the best, but it's good enough. And we'll translate their messages out to see what they're asking about. And if we need help with someone whose language is not the greeter's personal language or knowledge of that language, we can ask. Sometimes there are other greeters who can help because they know the languages. But we also have people on WikiTree who have offered their services as language people who can do that.
And translators. I think too, it would be great. It seems like it's gotten worse. I think too, it would be great if we had more people with different languages and locations to join.
Yes. I'd say that one of the most difficult ones are when we get new people who type in Cyrillic to some of you, and so that's a little more difficult because it's harder to find people who can do that. But on the other hand, we do have people who have knowledge of other languages, and most of the people who join are joining with the language that somebody on WikiTree is doing.
Okay, you guys ready for another bingo?
Let's go.
Let me bring that up. Let me bring that screen up.
Steve, on the high of the doghouse yet? That's funny.
I don't know. I don't think we've been doing bingo for 6 months yet. In 6 months, until you can win again. You get a matching pair of mugs. Okay, let's bring up the bingo. And I agree. This is what Pip is talking about. Okay, let's see if we can get through this with Matt. And again, if you're playing horizontal, vertical, diagonal to win, bingo. And whoever types bingo, 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 or just bingo, in the chat is the person who wins first. Do not close down your bingo cards until we make sure somebody has bingo. Okay, so Pip, I'm going to let you talk about it.
Julie is our go-to person for that's on the next level above David and myself as co-leaders of the project, and she helps us out tremendously. Orphan profiles. Sometimes people will post a little genealogy nugget on an orphan profile, and we have a message for that to tell them that nobody's going to respond to your little thing. So there's even a sample message for this kind of situation.
I do get that.
This one involves trying to get as many people in as many different time zones as we possibly can to cover all the open slots that there are. So it depends on what time zone you're in. That's why we like having, like Kathy is in California, and we love having her greeting because she can greet later than a lot of us. We also check to see what kind of comments are going on when a guest member posts a comment. We check that comment. Sometimes we find some pretty nasty ones. How dare you? What makes you think you know all about this family? You need to take this down right now and delete it. We get some of those comments, and when we do, we flag them and tell the reason for the flag. Most comments, though, are really kind of helpful, and we can let those go. We don't have to comment that they're commenting. We just look to see what they're saying.
Well, I appreciate the readers for looking at those comments because I've seen some, and they're based on the other places that are not sourced.
Yes, correct. Yes, that happens a lot. If you really want, let me tell you something. The reason that people get frustrated, well, people have been on WikiTree forever, they're not doing anything, we need to get rid of them. Well, that's not true. And the reason I put Chris W. up here, Chris Whitten, is this. Sometimes I will come across a new person who has a guest who has upgraded after like 10 or 12 years, and Chris Whitten has actually been one of the greeters back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Chris was actually a greeter too.
That's amazing.
Yep. I've had that happen about twice.
But you know what's really cool about that is that, the head guy, the top guy will do it all.
Yes. He sure has. He has done it all. He knows the whole thing.
So this could be our phrase. Be like Chris. Be a greeter.
Yes. Well, this happens occasionally. Mostly it happens with guest accounts. They hop on, then they delete. And then sometimes we will have actually people who have upgraded to family member status have gotten the family member message, standard message that we send to them, and they'll delete their account. It will show up on our feeds that they've deleted if we catch it soon enough. Otherwise, we don't see it at all. But that happens occasionally. People will join, and out they go. We do have links to tutorial pages. A lot of those that were developed very early on in WikiTree by a lot of the greeters, and sometimes we use them. People ask for help, not just the standard how-to, but actually, what can I do here? And these tutorial pages are a boon to us. We can use those tutorial pages. There are some people who work extremely long shifts. And
you included.
Yeah. I think the longest shift I ever did was like a 7-hour shift. I just had the time and I just filled in all the open slots on the day. My longest shift right now is scheduled is 3 hours. Sometimes if I come in, wake up early enough on a Monday morning and I'm ready to get to work, I'll sign in an hour early and do a 4-hour shift from 8 to 12 Eastern. And most of them are shorter than that. Tuesday night's a 3-hour shift. The Sunday night, Monday night, Wednesday night are 2-hour shifts.
So keep in mind that, Pip, David, Pam, PC, I know the other readers as well here, Ruth, Kathy, they're all picking up additional shifts. And they're volunteers as well, and they're trying to work their own trees, just like all of us are doing, and involved in different aspects of WikiTree. So again, many hands make light work. So if you guys can take an hour away from, Pip and David, that would be fabulous. They might actually get to work on their own genealogy.
Yeah, that can be a problem. I want you to know when I'm doing 14 hours a week that I sometimes do not get to do any personal genealogy because I've already done 14 hours, and I actually do have another life. Believe it or not,
We read.
I have a wife.
Your poor wife.
Another WikiTree widow. Um, Privacy issues. We get questions about privacy issues a lot. Like, will people see this? Yeah, that's probably Cheryl that does that. Yeah.
Anything we can do to help these greeters. They don't want these long hour shifts. They're volunteering for us, guys.
Yeah. So people will ask questions about how private is stuff going to be. Will the people be able to see? We tell them that any living people are automatically anonymized. You can't see those profiles. And so that's one of the things we asked them. Bump it up. This happens occasionally for David and I when we are unsure how to handle a particular situation. We bump it up, and it's usually Julie who will come to the rescue. And so that's what that means.
That's awesome. So see, everybody on WikiTree sometimes needs another eye, another opinion, more advice.
Yeah.
So as a greeter, don't be nervous. There's always an answer.
We do a lot of thanking for
David.
people. Bye, David. David is not only a leader of the Greeters Project and a greeter. He's also a leader in the Integrators Project, and he's also a mentor, which takes most of his time.
I believe it.
He has many hours doing that, and so you guys just don't know how important David Selman is to WikiTree. It's not that if we lost him that WikiTree would shut down, but he's very important. So we thank a lot of people for the things they do. If they upload a JetCon, we thank them. If they upload a photograph, thank you. If they add a DNA test, we thank them for that. We want that kind of positive thing going out to them early on when they do stuff like that. And so,
and I will mention now, since we're talking about this, as a benefit for those of you that love high contribution counts. You're thanking a lot of people and you're reading a lot of people. This will get your contribution counts up.
That's true. I'll tell you that I have 2,100 plus contributions this month. I will bet you that probably 1,900 of them are contributions to posting comments on new people. So that happens. You will, if you're a greeter, it will be very difficult for you to not make your 1,000 contribution club goal each month. And I haven't missed one since my first year there. So
I believe it. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am.
a greeter.
Erin won bingo.
That's great.
She's a greeter, brand new. She's working some extra shifts.
Yep.
And she's also the rock. One of the rocks that is going to be in,
yes.
In the Saturday roundup tomorrow. You'll learn more about what people have done for Erin and her tree and rock. So again, I talk about this a lot. The power of WikiTree. The greeters touch every project.
Yeah, we're scattered around.
So it's really good to have these new people come in. And again, I want everybody to put yourself into the place of, if you walk into a restaurant, nobody greets you, what do you do? And it's the same with WikiTree. Goodness, that tiny echo has gotten so much worse. Thank you guys for putting up with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Erin, you won the bingo. And what you need to do is email Eowyn. And if you already know Erin, because we talk a lot about this in the Appalachian Project, if you already know you want the all black WikiTree mug, just email her and tell her that. If you want to take a peek at the store, the WikiTree store, you can tell her that, and she will get you the information and how to order. So what do we need to know about greeters that we didn't ask you today?
In a nutshell, I can say everything that I've said in general can be distilled down into this. WikiTree's are some of the most wonderful people. Not just they do a great job, they're actually really wonderful people who are willing to help, who are always encouraging, who, just it's almost like a family. We have a nickname for ourselves. We call ourselves the greatest gang. That doesn't mean that we're better than anybody else on WikiTree, but I'm telling you that it's we're courteous to each other. We laugh about stuff that comes up sometimes. It's just it is an essential project to WikiTree. This has been going on greeting has been going on for a long time, and I didn't join WikiTree until 2018 April, and then by that fall, David Selman had hooked me in to be a part of the Greeters project, and I've been greeting since fall of 2018. And I can tell you that.
I will also point out too, with Pet, we talked about what you do and how much time you don't have on your personal tree. I believe your co-leader was Summertooth too.
I'm sorry, the last
With
part?
the Summertooth project, your co-leader with that too.
Yeah, I don't do very much with the cemetery project. I just don't have the time to invest into really working that project probably needs some better leadership than I'm able to provide.
Well, I mentioned it because they will be joining us in 2 weeks.
No, good.
At this time slot for bingo.
Will that be Steve
I
Harris?
know probably one of the projects that gets the most questions might be that one. So Steve will be joining us to answer all your cemetery questions on WikiTree. So that'll be good. Go ahead and read it again. I just want to mention before I let everybody go, how grateful I am that Pip came in to talk about the Greaters Project, because it's so important. I know that in a couple projects I'm involved in, we do go to Facebook, to Twitter and Instagram to try and bring people into WikiTree, and we try to recruit. And without greeters, we wouldn't have that. And the reason why I think this is important, someone took this week and after the project brought somebody new into WikiTree, and it was a missing link for them to a book wall. So again, if that person just came into WikiTree and didn't have you in the project, I don't know if they would have made their way to us to help understand how we do profiles, how we sort, and help break down that brick wall and collaborate. And by the way, that person only joined WikiTree, but they joined Discord. So they came in that way too. So I just want to thank you for all the work that the greeters do. You guys are pulling so much extra weight, and I really, really appreciate it. And I know, Stephen, I'm so sorry about that.
I appreciate it too. All you WikiTreeers who are watching now or will be watching later, I want to tell you that David and I appreciate you more than you know. You provide an essential service to WikiTree, but you're also wonderful folks, and we love you for that. We really do.
So spread the news. If you're not a greeter, can you give 1 hour a week? That's all they're asking for, 1 hour a week, and spread the news.
John has asked, where do you sign up? And John, you can go to the WikiTree project page, and there's a link to the G2G question that will show you if you answer that. You may not get in right away because we're still working through training people. Several of the people already on that question are trained, and when we get through that list, we'll post a new one. But go ahead and look at the project page, and it'll have a link to that.
And let me post up the page real quick. There you go. And it's just like every project in WikiTree. There's a box in the middle of the project page that says, how do I join? And it links to a G2G.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, sorry, Carol. We've had technical difficulties, Carol. So, join us in a couple hours. We'll work them out. Okay, so I can tell you that I appreciate John a lot as well in the Rangers group. And John, I know the Greeters group would love to have you because they do complement each other. Those two projects very much complement each other.
I'm just so pleased to see so many people from the Appalachian Project as greeters. That's just great because the Appalachian Project's a great project too.
It is,
Great.
but if you know your favorite Appalachian, so that's part of the reason why.
This is right.
Well, Mags, if you're watching, you too, your favorite Appalachian too. So
Eowyn too, who also sometimes will help us out. Thank you, Eowyn, for being there for us when Julie is busy doing other stuff. You're always on tap for that. We appreciate that. I want to thank all the greeters. More than you know how much I appreciate you.
and they asked if on the bingo space page, I try to update it with who won each bingo, so you can check there. I'm so glad we had greeters because there are a lot of similar topics here. So tonight, I should say tonight, where I'm at. So it's 6 o'clock Eastern, which I believe I had Irish John teach me in England. That is UTC +1, now that you're on daylight saving time.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, we will have the adoption angels. And we're going to kind of carry through this greeter topic that we had with when I join, if I have an adoption name and a birth name, we're going to kind of carry that through. And I hope that Kathy Nava can join us too, because I know that she helps greeters and adoption angels with she helps anybody you ask actually with the adoption questions that go on. So definitely come back tonight to kind of carry a little bit of today's conversation on with Emma from Adoption Angels, and you will be amazed at some of the discoveries they have made for free. Again, WikiTree's free. And it's definitely a interesting project as much as this one, the Greeters Project. Thanks, guys, for putting up with the technical difficulties. We have a mouse or a gremlin or something in the lines, and I appreciate it. And Pip, thanks so much for joining us. It's always a good time to have Pip on the bingo.
Okay. Take care, guys. Thank you so much. It's been great being with you again.
Yeah, you're going to have to join in a couple more projects so we can have you on bingo a couple more times. Okay, bye. Bye, guys. See you later on.